reference to our ancestors, it is appropriate that we begin our activities with an ancestral celebration. Because we're an African people, whenever we come together, well, no matter how large or small the occasion, it's appropriate to ask of our ancestors their blessings. Because our ancestors are a fundamental part of everything that we do. They're here in the room, in the air, they surround us. And we believe that if we call upon them and ask for their blessings, they will ensure that the Mojo, our first day of Kwanzaa, December 26, 2010, will be a success. A libation is poured into the ground, and as the name is called and the liquid is poured, we would ask that you acknowledge it in your own way. It will be both in peaceful healing and in English. Ina, remember where you all praise is due to our African creator. Ina, my Bible where all praise is due to our African ancestors. Ina Wote, where you see all praise is due. African people, Ina. Maisha will see all praise is due to African land. Spiritual memory of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who taught us one God, one aim, one destiny, and who believed in African people, those at home and those abroad. For the spiritual memory of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, we say in full libations, Ashe. For the spiritual memory of Queen Nzinga, who led our brothers and sisters in Angola and never allowed the Portuguese to dominate, and represents an example of African warriorhood. For the spiritual memory of Queen Nzinga, we say in full libations, Ashe. For the spiritual memory, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought the Nation of Islam into being, gave us an example of economic self-determination. For the spiritual memory of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we say in full libations, Ashe. And for the spiritual memory of Queen Mother Moore, who gave nearly 100 years of her life in the cause of African revolution, prosperity, redemption, and peace. For the spiritual memory of Queen Mother Moore, we say in full libations, Ashe. For the spiritual memory of Minister Malcolm X, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, for his example of husbandhood, manhood, fatherhood, and a servant to our people. The spiritual memory of Minister Malcolm X, we say in full libations, Ashe. For the spiritual memory of General Harriet Tubman, who led our brothers and sisters toward the North Star and never lost a passenger on the Underground Railroad, and who believe we have the right to be free or die in our effort. For the spiritual memory of General Harriet Tubman, we say in full libation, Ashe. For the spiritual memory of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who took the church out of the church and brought it into the community. For the theological lessons and examples given to us by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we say in full libation, Ashe. And for the spiritual memory of Margaret Bowes, who with her husband started the Duke's Harbor Museum in their home and maintained her commitment to African education and history despite challenges, despite obstacles. For the spiritual memory of Sister Margaret Bowes, we say in full libations, Ashe. For the spiritual memory of the 500 million Africans taken from the continent during the European slave enterprise, and the 60 million and more who perished during the Middle Passage, and whose bones lie at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. who sacrificed, bled, and died in our Ma'afa, our African Holocaust of enslavement. For all of those ancestors, we stand for libation. Ashe? Ashe. For the spiritual memory, the ancestors of all of us here assembled, our great-grandparents, grandparents, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, husbands, wives, nieces, nephews, cousins, those whose names we can call, those who have built the bridge over which we today flow, those that we will always honor in our family lineage. For the spiritual memory of all of the ancestors of those here assembled, we say in full libation, Ashe. Ashe. And for the spiritual memory of those not yet born, those who come behind us, those who will inherit our legacy of struggle, those who will ensure that we achieve our goals of reparations, prosperity, and peace. For the spiritual memory of those not yet born, we say in full libation, Ashe. Ashe. We follow Teina, remember we will see all praise is due to our African creators. Si Fa'ote'ina, my Bible, we will see all praise is due to our African ancestors. Si Fa'ote'ina Wote, we will see all praise is due to African people. Si Fa'ote'ina Maisha, we will see all praise is due to Africa. And that we're correct in what we've asked. If indeed we believe that Grandma, Uncle Joe, and those in our family who have led us to where we are today, if we believe that they are here with us, they will have heard our request, and they will ensure that emerging December 26, 2010, for the opening of the Malcolm X College, for those who are the celebration will be a success. And we shall go forward from this day committed to African redemption for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow. Ashe? Ashe. 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 You may be seated. It's always a pleasure to play the symbols. For many of us, this is our lifestyle. This is our period of rejuvenation, of getting our hearts, minds, and souls together. And you're looking at a beautiful Kwanzaa display. And each one of these items represents an educational lesson. It presents to us a historical record of our people. So what we will be doing is these symbols and then to our annual life. First, Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa, was created by the US organization led by Dr. Malana Karim